And name only.
Yes.
They're not going to put your money back.
Pardon? Yeah, he's going to do that now. Yeah, so.
We just came out of exec session. Actually, we were in exec session. We came out and just started the meeting at 7:33. 7:35. Just came back out to exec session right now at 7:50. Okay, so we just went down to recess. Okay, so that's what
Attorney, at
7:57.
Excuse me, Council President Shaw. I just want to say, Council went into executive session to discuss Bucks County Court of Common Pleas number 2015 05640. And we, I believe Councilman Kerner has joined us by speakerphone.
I saw it, yes.
Participating in the meeting.
so you can add him to the roll call at,
At 7:50.
Okay. All right, moving on. Yes?
Can't hear you.
Yes. We're doing some moving around, so I'm going to do that first. We are moving 8G. The motion to, you know what? What was the other one? Give a moment, as soon as I tell them the switches that we're making there. The 8G, the motion to adopt an ordinance to eliminate the position of controller and appoint an independent auditor at the November Borough Council meeting. We're moving that up, and we're going to be doing that right after the approval of the minutes. I'm sorry? We just got a new copy tonight, and it was added to it. So we're moving that up, and then we're adding 8H, the motion to direct civil service to proceed with advertising for the hiring of a new police officer. Now, in the special presentations, we are going to appoint our new junior council person for the school year 2015-2016, and her name is Anna Zuckerman. We already have the resolution in place in order to have this program, and at our agenda meeting, I'm sorry, that's kind of distracting. At our agenda meeting, it was, we voted for Anna. So I'd like to welcome Anna, and I don't know if did you want to say a couple words or not at this time? Okay.
Next time I'll be more prepared, but I'm really excited to be here.
Okay. Good. I'd like to welcome her. Now we will have the hearing of the public. Anyone who wishes to come forward, please state your name and your address. Oh, Fred's not here. That's right. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Eileen Dreisbach.
Eileen Dreisbach, 75 Harrison Avenue.
It's right on top.
Okay. Eileen Dreisbach, 75 Harrison Avenue, Morrisville. I just have one question. 80, it's a motion to approve resolution with the recommended changes and additions to the civil service regulations. Would anyone be able to tell me what those changes or additions are? That's all I need to know.
Yes, we will, when we get to that motion, we'll definitely
All right,
mention that,
thank
okay? Next, we have Bill Farrell.
Bill Farrell, 347 North Pennsylvania Avenue. You said you were moving one motion up after the approval of the minutes?
Yes.
Which one, what was that? I didn't get the full.
AG. AG.
8G, let me see if I do this.
Motion to adopt an ordinance to eliminate the petition
Okay,
control.
all right, okay, I got it. Good evening, Mr. Kenny, I haven't seen you for a while, I thought that was your deputy, what came in with that hat? That's done business. You know, there's a saying that money is the root of all evils, but I sort of disagree, because I think politics has moved in the first place in my mind. That's why we have so many problems in this country today, because of the politics. There's been a trend since I've been coming to these meetings with the Borough Council. It seemed like when certain groups are on the Borough Council, it's very difficult to get any answers to questions, and it seems like it's very difficult for people to get the information. Even when you were President, Mr. Renault, there was a problem with some people knew what was going on, others did not. And that hasn't changed. It's still the same. It's about time that everybody's given appropriate information to deal with what the problems are. I hope one of these days that will happen. Do I expect it? I doubt it. I know people come up and ask, and they get very emotional. They ask questions, they get upset. They let their emotions run. And sometimes I do. But you have to have a little patience with these people. Unless they get very derogatory, which there's no reason to do that. But let them ask a question. I know you don't have to answer, and that's your prerogative. But at least be courteous enough. Somebody gets out of hand, give them the gavel. Do that. That's fine. That's the way the meetings are supposed to be run. Not to rant and rave like a maniac. Now, I want to point out a couple things. I'm not going to elaborate on any of them, but the things that have happened. Number one, you had the pool fiasco. Number two, you had the lighting upgrade. You changed it from something to upgrade. You've had a lawsuit by the former mayor. You had a lawsuit involving the police department. And you have a lawsuit by the controller, which is active. In addition, the motion to eliminate the controller is on board tonight. I saw that. I've been asking that numerous times what was going on. And you people look at me. I don't know if you look me straight in the eye, because most of the time you're not even looking. So, now I see it's on the agenda. My question is, relative to that, you're going to hire a public auditor, and you're going to pay a lot more than you paid for the controller, because that was part of his salary to do the audits. And you've paid $6,000 at least 3 times to an outside auditor. The controller is only given $2,400 a year. And according to 1035B, which I've read and you people were given, that was related to that. You could not charge more than $1,000 for 10,000 people, and 20,000 was $2,000. I gave you all a copy one night, except for Victor, he wasn't here. But he didn't even believe I had the 1035B. So, that'll be in the past. The only thing that I have to say is, people in Morrisville, look where you've been. Look where you're at now. And look to see where you want to go in the future. Come next month, it'll be up to you. Win, lose, or draw, whatever happens, happens. I can accept that. But people in Morrisville, wake up. You've been too complacent for too many years. You've been voting for names and not checking to see what was going on. It's one thing if you know the person personally, but you have to, in this case, you have to go by what has been done in this borough. And I pointed out numerous things that should never have happened if people were held accountable for their actions. So here we are today. So next month, like I've said in the past, turn off your TV, put your beer away, and at least get out on November 3rd and make the change. I think a change is needed. Whether it happens, say it'll be. I can live with it either way. But it's about time that the people of Morrisville show the borough what you want. And remember what you say. You might be sorry for what you get, but it sure might be better than what you got now. Thank you.
Thank you. Jane Berger?
Jane Berger, 90 West Maple Avenue. Good evening. Congratulations to Anna Zuckerman, our junior council person. Last month, when you were in exec session, those of us in the audience had a chance to kind of chat informally with the candidates. And I think anyone did an excellent job, and I know Anna will, and hopefully you'll have a great learning experience. One of the things to learn is how government does appointments. It's a 2-step process. You take nominations, and if there's one nomination, it's yes or no against the president, and then you do the vote to actually appoint, motion, second, vote. When you have more than one nomination, kind of go around and people would nominate 1 or 2 or however you nominate it, and then they go around the nomination to see who gets the majority. Once the nominee for an appointment receives a majority, then the next step is for the council actually to vote to do the appointment. It was most recently done to fill the vacancy in the tax collector position, where there were nominations. We went through that process. And that particular position had to be appointed by a resolution, not just a simple motion. But again, it was the 2-step process. I know the YouTube that's out there is not official, but I did watch that, and that the meeting, I didn't hear anything about action items last Tuesday. I do know that when you went midway through your meeting and you did have the nomination process and discussion of that, so I guess I'm surprised, since Mr. Sherlock said you voted on it last week. I'm just kind of wondering how that happened in our good old friend Sunshine Law, because it's not on the agenda for this evening. It's a new program, you know, step by step. I'm sure we'll get all the little details worked out as we go forward into next year. The bill list. The TAN, page 7, GL 1510, date 10/16/15. There's a loan from the TAN to the street lighting fund in the amount of $29,000. First question is, we're in October, budgets get thin, finances are kind of low at the end of the year. Any clue as to where the money's going to come from to pay this back before December 31st? That TAN fund was set up and money secured to be used in the event the council needed operating funds at the beginning of the year before the tax monies come through. And obviously there'd be no interest. If you have savings, you wouldn't have to actually go out for a bank loan. And that was done last year, and the money was paid back to the TAN fund. So I'm wondering why the street lighting fund of all funds is in such dire straits that there's not enough money to cover it. I always carry my budget with me. The street lighting revenue budget for 2014 was $160,000 and change, and for this year the budget was dropped to $61,000 and change. Honestly, I think that has to do with the fact that we replaced all the street lights to LED lighting. It was done in 2014, so I would expect that this welcome drop in the budget and revenues equal expenses for 2015 was a reduction in the energy cost for this. We get paid per pole, so it doesn't matter whether you've got energy efficient or energy using light bulbs per pole. So I would hope that the necessary steps were taken with PICO to adjust the price per pole downwards so we could achieve energy savings. And I look forward to perhaps the manager this evening kind of explaining why we needed the loan, will it get paid back, and why the street lighting fund is so over budget with all of the energy cost savings. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. No, sure.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to address just one comment that we heard this evening. A resident addressed everyone and said there's been a problem in the past with some information not being disseminated, and included me from 2011, 4 years ago. First of all, the resident did not serve on council, so would have no first-hand knowledge of that. And I would like to assure this resident and everyone else who wants to go back 4 years ago, I did something different back when I was council president. We used a paper packet, and because of my employment, what I did was I set this up with Ms. Dorothy Gadula. Everything that came into the borough was collected and was given to me on Wednesday. Thursday, I called the borough. We had a conversation to see if anything new came in. And so if there was, she would explain what came in. Usually there wasn't anything on that last day. And Friday, every Friday, the council members received a hard copy delivered to their homes. So I don't know why someone would say 4 years ago I didn't disseminate information. I assure everyone it was handled properly. Thank you.
I would agree, Dave. Okay. Next, we have approval of the minutes. If I can have a motion, please. This is approval for the regular Borough Council meeting of September 21st, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments on this motion or minutes? Roll call, please.
Sister.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Kerner. Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Next, this is the one that we moved. This is 8G. We have an attorney here this evening that we've asked him to stay until this motion is done. It's a motion to adopt an ordinance to eliminate the position of controller and appoint an independent auditor at the November Borough Council meeting. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Uh,
Let's clarify that motion, though. We're not going to appoint anybody at the November meeting. Is that correct? We're going to use that system after we
The
dissolve.
person that would be appointed would not be take any
Office
position
until-
until January 1st.
Till January 1st.
Yes.
Yes.
But the way it's written and said, it sounds like we want to do the two things at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, so that was Corinne and Victor?
Yes.
Yes.
Seconded,
Yes.
or questions, any more questions or comments on this motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cisco.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Yes. Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
No.
Mr. Kerner. Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 7-1.
Thank you.
I'm sorry? Is there something? No, okay, all right. Okay, now we'll go into reports. We have manager's report,
No report.
solicitor's report.
No report.
The engineer is not here this evening. He has sent a message that there is no report at this time. Mayor's report.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. This evening, I'd like to read a proclamation. It is for Teen Driver Safety Week. Whereas driving is an important and exciting rite of passage for the youth, it is also one of the riskiest activities for young people to engage in. Whereas the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has determined that the leading cause of death among teenagers is motor vehicle accidents, exceeding the rate of all other causes of death among the population group. And whereas in 2007, the United States Congress established that the third week of October as Teen Driver Safety Week as an opportunity to raise awareness and seek solutions to prevent teenage tragedy. Whereas it is especially important for citizens to be aware of the challenges facing teen drivers and to become actively involved as mentors to help drivers develop and maintain the proper attitude about driving, practice safe driving techniques, and adhere to vehicle laws through their own example. And therefore, in recognition of the importance of Teen Driver Safety Week in our borough roadways and beyond, I, David Verbella, Mayor of Morrisville Borough, do hereby proclaim the third week of October 2015 as Teen Driver Safety Week in Morrisville Borough. I encourage all motorists to continue their efforts to promote safety and all drivers to share the road and respect the training and safety needs of teen drivers. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Blake Addifer. He is a teacher from the Bucks County Technical School. Blake and his students were very helpful as the Morrisville Police Department has created a web page. It's morrisvillepd.org, and I would encourage everyone to take a look at it, and I'll leave a little bit of that for Chief McClay to elaborate on. So that is the extent of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, police chief's report.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening, Chief.
This month's crime has increased 39% from this time last year. Our revenues for the police department this time last year were at 132,000. This year we're at 219,000, an increase of 40%. Mileage so far this year, we're up 8% from 56,000 to 51 to 56,000. Our arrests for this year are down 13%. I can say that our truancies are down 68% and our DUIs are down 44%, our two largest groups of arrests that we have. But you would have to think that your arrests are going to go down when your crime decreases as much as it has over the last year. The crime's not out there to arrest people, it's obviously going to go down. Like the mayor has said, we do now have a new website. It's morrisvillepd.org. It is up and running. It has, it's a nice site. We had a lot of help from the tech school. Without them, I could not have done that. Our radios have been switched over this past week. All Bucks County is now up and running on a new megahertz system. We have $91,000 in the fund that has to be paid immediately, or we will start earning interest on that. And then from there, I have to make up $15,000 next year somewhere in the budget. Because we were short on that overall budget over the last 5 years. Halloween's coming up. I will have extra patrols out on Halloween, just like we did last year. I expect no problems. November 7th is the Trenton Half Marathon. A lot of roads that morning will be closed, close to the river. Let's see what else. I'll be speaking tomorrow night at the Business Meeting Association, and Sunday I leave for Chicago for the International Association Chief of Police Conference. I think that is it. Thank you. Any questions?
Have a safe trip.
Thank you.
How long are you gonna be away?
I don't know. I thought you were going to be with me.
Okay, next we have, in the finance, we have 8A. This is a motion to pay the bills. Have can you read the bill list, please?
General fund, $153,780.69. Street lighting fund, $5,632.52. Library fund, $3,384.90. Recreation fund, $10,860.24. Sinking fund, $2,984.75. Street fund, $8,802.15. State Highway Fund, $54,308.84. Borough of Morrisville Gates Grant, $2,149. TAN Fund, $29,700. Borough of Morrisville Jones, $618.24. Capital Reserve Fund, $33,986, for a total of $306,907.33.
You've heard the bill. You've heard the bill list. May I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments on the bills?
Okay, I have a comment on that. On the street lighting fund and on the TAN fund, why we took $29,700 from the TAN fund to transfer it to the street lighting fund. The reason was the normal bill for the street lights is normally about $94,000. When we did the budget last year in October, Johnson Controls was supposed to be done, the project, about in January, December 31st. Johnson Controls didn't finish the street lights until almost April or May. So we didn't have any energy, so we only put, in the electric bill, we only put $48,000 in there to pay for the lights, because we thought we were going to have all LED lights for a total year, and we were going to have the energy savings. We actually transferred $43,000 to the sinking fund, okay, to pay back the loan. But since they didn't finish the project on time, our energy bills were higher. Okay. So now that the energy bills were higher, our electric bills were higher for the year, and we ran out of money in the street lighting fund. So we borrowed the money from the TAN fund for the rest of the year. We've calculated that it would be another $29,000. Okay. So now that money is sitting in the sinking fund. Okay, so next year, we know that the savings won't be 2 mils and to put in the sinking fund. We'll only put $1.5 million in the sinking fund next year. We'll put more money in the street lighting fund next year, and we'll pay back the TAN. immediately in January when we get our, well, we can't do it right away until tax money comes in next year. But we'll reverse the action and pay back the TAN fund. But that's actually what the TAN fund is for. The TAN fund is actually when we don't have enough tax money, or when we run out of a fund, we borrow from the TAN to make it up for the year. Usually we do it for payrolls from January, February, and March because we don't have any tax money coming in. And we borrow from the TAN to make payroll. So when we didn't finish when Johnson Controls didn't finish the project, those lights were burning at a high rate, and it cost us more money. But it'll all be made up, and it's all.
And you have not paid them, is that correct?
No, we haven't completed paying. We just made one payment to them, but we haven't completed paying Johnson Controls yet. So everything's on the up and up.
Anyone else have any questions regarding the bill list?
Yeah. The TAN fund is always paid back before the end of the year. You're going to carry that into the next cycle. And for 2 years in a row, you've had to borrow $300,000 because there wasn't enough to pay the bills until tax time. So some of that didn't get paid back until spring.
You can't say we borrowed $300,000. There's only $300,000 in the TAN.
Well, I know, but that's what you borrowed. That's what you borrowed. The whole,
Or maybe.
yeah, that's what you borrowed.
That's every year for 20 years though, Debbie. It's not changed.
We did that every year.
But we've never had to take $29,000 because we were short at the end and didn't have it paid back. We always had to have that paid back by the end of the year. Now we don't have to. We're making exceptions for this. Really. And the other thing too, now that it's being brought up to show
We're not,
that.
the TAN fund is the borough's money. It's not like
I understand that.
we're only moving money from one fund to another fund, that's all. It's not like we're borrowing from a bank. We're borrowing from the borough.
And please remember, we started this year's budget January 1, 2015 with $35,000 in our bank account.
And if I took the money out of the sinking fund to pay back the TAN fund, Jane Berger would be very mad at me because you're not allowed to take money out of the sinking fund to pay it down.
You're right, Mr. Bates.
And there, I mean, we're going to be doing the budget. We'll see. I mean, the figures till the end are not in yet. We still have weeks left till the end of the year. I mean, there may be something may shake out, and there'll be money to pay it back sooner. There won't be. Just hoping.
When does Johnson Control do this analysis report? They're supposed to give it to you, right? When they're done with the year? So do we get anything? Where do we stand with that? When is that coming in? Anybody know? I mean, they're supposed to give us a report, right?
We're getting an analysis report for them. And we stand pretty well.
I thought that we have to have a full 12 months in first, though.
Actually,
So it won't be until April.
Actually, it runs from April 1st to March 31st.
So
That's because the project wasn't finished until April 1st. It was late. It was supposed to be January to December 31st, but they didn't finish the lighting till April. So our savings didn't start till April.
It's my understanding also that you have, our guarantee doesn't start until then as well.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Johnson Controls actually gave us another whole year on our guarantee, 100% guarantee on everything. So, on the boiler, on the air conditioning, on everything. So, right, Bobby?
Anything else on the bill list then?
Oh, after I recover from that. I see the 7-yard truck, I guess, is in because part of the payment's on there. That would be in the capital reserve fund, $32,986, but I think that truck comes in at about $187,000 with the liquid fuels money. Was that truck delivered?
No, the cab and the chassis was delivered. And that's the $54,308.84 and the $33,986
That's not the,
or that's just the cab and the chassis, and that's about $80-some thousand. And then the cab and the chassis gets sent to the body shop, and then the actual body gets put on the truck.
what I'm asking is, that's a 7-yard truck, I'm asking?
That's the 10-yard truck. That's the $153,000 truck.
I thought it was 7 yard, it's 10 yard?
It's 10 yards.
Is that a tandem dump truck? Tandem.
I don't know if you call it tandem.
Anyone else or anything else?
Yeah. I have on recreation, GL 1509, 114 American Glass, Climbing Paint. I guess we have an invoice there for invoice number 1033, the sum of $2,500. And also
What was that vendor again, please?
the invoice of the vendor number is 114
Or the name?
Airplace, Climbing Paint, at the Williamson Park, Pavilion
That's
/ Building.
the sandbar,
This is the vendor number.
sandbar's name?
Oh, the vendor number?
That
Yeah,
was
the
a
vendor-
sandblaster, and
It's
it's
114.
also painted as he sandblasted, so it wouldn't rust. We hired him to also prime and paint the project.
I mean, all said and done, when you look at the numbers, wouldn't it have been more economical to go and put a new roof on it? I mean, you're putting a paint primer and paint on it, you'd probably get 10 years out of it. Had you gone with new roof panels with gabaline with the finish on, you'd probably get 30 years out of it.
He said, we'll get another 38 years out of this.
Well, that's not gabaline steel there, it's the old process. Generally paint will hold up 10 years. It's in that industry.
It's gonna last a long time.
How much was it? What was the bill?
It was $7,000 total, I think. Having a whole structure sandblasted, primed, and painted.
Oh, that's that beautiful structure, blue.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, the nice blue one, the one that matches everything in the park.
I would have done it a different color myself. Looks like it's part of the ballpark.
Well, those are the two colors that are down there.
It is in the park.
I know, but.
Everything in the ballpark is painted that color.
Right.
Everything in Williamson Park is painted that color.
Okay, let's not talk about color. Can we get, anybody else have any other questions regarding the bill list? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner, Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have 8B, motion to acknowledge receipt of $53,336.06 from the PA Department of Auditor General and to approve distribution of 100% to the Morrisville Fire Company.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments on this motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner, Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion 8C, motion to award 2015-2016 consortium salt bid as bid through the Bucks County Consortium to Morton Salt Inc., which they merged with International Salt Company LLC on 9/1/14. Per their bid price of $63.97 per ton delivered and $63 per ton undelivered. Contract to run to September 30th, 2016. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Ms. Chronicle and Mr. Johnson.
Yes. Questions or comments on this motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner, Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have 8D. It's a motion to prepare an advertising ordinance to elect to amend the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System Morrisville Uniform Pension Plan per Pennsylvania state requirement. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
These are requirements, and does the chief want to say something?
I don't know anything about that, man. I was wondering if,
This is something that was sent to us from Pennsylvania. We have no say over their changes.
No, but I'll explain to you.
that was never forwarded to the police department.
It doesn't have to be. This is a statutory regulation. What the state is essentially saying is they can grab our money if they want.
To bail out of the
To
town.
bail out other towns.
Okay.
We have no say in it.
I think it would just been nice if you could forward that email with that information to the police
Well-
department so I could be
Okay.
prepared for it.
I'll have Virginia send it to you. Who was the second on that, please?
That was Mr. Parker.
Roll call. Roll
Mr.
call.
Cicero,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Yes. Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner, Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have a motion to approve a resolution with recommended changes and additions to the civil service regulations. May I have a motion, please?
So moved, oh, excuse me. So moved, yes.
Second.
Okay, regarding the changes, well, actually, Corinne, would you like to do that? Or you have your paperwork with you? Pardon me?
Do we read the resolution or just talk about changes?
Just the section of the changes in their short title.
The civil service met back in, I believe it was August, let the council members know that we were making the following changes to the civil service rules. We are proposing a new section regarding alternate members. There's nothing in the civil service regulations and rules regarding alternate members, so that we were just adding language regarding that. There's also no language regarding the quorum, so we just tightened up that and added that. We removed the residency requirement for, I apologize, I should have stated, these civil service rules are regarding the police officers in our town. So this is, we're removing the residency requirement for police officers. And we were adding a grievance procedure for, regarding applicants for promotion. So these are the only changes that we were making regarding, again, this is civil service rules, and this is for our police department. We discussed it, I believe, at length at last agenda meeting.
Thank you. And we did change, from the original text, we changed it to 90 days is when we'll fill the unexpired term
Correct.
after a vacancy. Any other questions on this? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mr. Sanford,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Kerner, Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have 8F. It's a motion to accept the memorandum of understanding between the Borough of Morrisville and the Morrisville School District for the district's utilization of a borough employee to be known as the school resource officer. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Second.
Ms. Ted? Yes? Ms. Ted and Jeff?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank council for placing item 8F and 8H on the agenda this evening. For those who missed it, Morrisville Borough was granted the COPS award, which is a $125,000 grant that our police department was able to bring into the borough, and happy to say I was able to sign that grant. And that also started the process that we had, a time limit, started the clock to get the MOU completed. So it looks like that's on, going right now, as well as the H for hiring the new officers. So I just want to thank the council for listening to my request at the last week's meeting. Thank you.
Welcome. Any other questions or comments on this motion? We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Carnicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Kerner. Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next, we have, well, we moved the AG, so next we have 8H. It's a motion to direct Civil Service Commission to proceed with advertising for the hiring of a new police officer.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments on this motion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Carnicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Kerner. And Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 8-0. Next, under new business, we have 10A. It's a motion to adopt the 2015 Halloween policy. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.